pray for schools. So we're going to do that, but I do want to answer a little bit of the question. Why do we need to pray for our schools? And I think I start out by doing this. Raise your hand here if you have a kid in your house who goes to school. All right, now keep your hands up. And join them if you have a grandchild who goes to school. If you have a niece or a nephew or a cousin who goes to school. Some of you didn't keep your hands up. But that's, all right, you can put them down. That's how big an impact our school system works on us. Now let's try it again, ladies and gentlemen. Raise your hand if you are someone who works in the school system or you live with someone who works in the school system. Now, keep them up this time. Raise your hand if you're a parent of a child of someone who fits that description. If you're a grandparent of someone who fits that description. If you have a niece, nephew, a cousin, an aunt, an uncle who fits that description, raise your hand. You see, again, look around, a big part of us. That's our school system. It's such a huge part of our lives and our culture. That's what the school system is. Think about it this way. On practically every Monday, every Wednesday, every Tuesday, every Thursday, every Friday, and I went to East Brady schools. That's why I got the days of the week wrong. But practically every weekday, September through June, practically every 5-year-old person, 5 years old to 18, where are they? Where do you know they're going to be? They're going to be at school. I mean, it's there. It's a culture. Every day, serious, well-meaning students go to school expecting to learn something, whether they want to or not is the other question. But they go, every day, serious, well-meaning teachers go to school expecting to teach their students something to help them be successful in life. And every day, serious, well-meaning people work to get students to and from school and to take care of them there. I mean, it happens every day all around us. They are hardworking people. Unfortunately, our school systems often fall victim to the weenie system. Now, I've talked to some of you before about the weenie system. And before you get all offended by the name, it was actually something that was pointed out to me by the assistant dean of students at my liberal arts Christian college that I went to. So he talked about the weenie system. And the weenie system is, anytime you get a group of people together, odds there's going to be at least one weenie in that group. And that means that the weenie is someone who's just, there to make trouble or is going to make things difficult for people. It's like, so maybe the average is out of 10 people, you get one weenie, right? And you all know these people. Well, so that means you get 20 people, you probably have about 2 weenies there. You get 100 people together, you got 10 weenies. You go into schools, how many students does Hornsey High School have? Probably between 800 and 900 students, I would say. You have 80 to 90 weenies there. That's enough people to make a lot of things difficult for people, right? And that's what happens in our school systems. I mean, and think about it, not just these schools, but then you have our entire society. As we just saw, our entire society is in some way involved in the school system. So like every weenie in our society is somehow engaged in the school system. So it's going to be made difficult by these people. Our schools fall victim to these weenies. How do the students fall victim to the weenies? Well, the first thing I think right off is bullying. These weenie students go out of their way to make kids feel like they're nothing, they're useless, they're trashy, they're stupid, for the dumbest of reasons. I see this in person when I work with the after-school program, which is starting October 4th, by the way. If you want to help out, let me know. But we get elementary school students there every Thursday, and we give them free gym time. But every time we give them free time in the gym, there's this one little girl. She joins us this year. She'll be in 2nd grade. And she just goes off into a corner by herself. And you think, oh, she must be introverted. But we found that even the introverted kids usually have 1 or 2 others that they latch onto from time to time. This girl, she's always by herself. And we know why. Because her experience has taught her, if she gets involved with these other students, she's going to be bullied. And we can see that in her. So she just stays to herself. Now these are the kids, and it happened in grade school, and it happened in high school, who go to school, and they're supposed to be focused on getting an education, but all they're worried about is, hey, when I go into that room, what am I going to be hit with? It's how students fall victim to the weenies. Weenies who create chaos in our schools. Some kids, for whatever reason, they just take being at school as their time for rebellion. It makes things difficult and uncomfortable, maybe even dangerous for other students to be there learning. But it's not just other students our students fall victim to. You think about the pressure that's put on our students to learn things, not because they're going to be helpful in life, because they have to learn these things so they can pass this test that we say they have to pass. Drugs are pushed, they're sold, they're bought, they're traded. It happens. And this is what's on these students. This is how they fall victim to the weenie. And why it's difficult in our school system. But then, think about also the educators, the teachers, the administration, the school bus drivers. They are victims to the weenies as well. Think about it, the undisciplined students that make it sometimes almost impossible for a well-meaning teacher to teach the students. Think about the increasing pressure put on teachers to teach the mandates instead of what they know their students need to know to get by in life. See, it's the schools being affected by this weenie system that goes on. And the biggest coup of the weenies is the fact that they've taken God out of our schools, haven't they? This place where all the young people meet, they come together, and our culture is shared, and it's sometimes rewritten because not all people in the schools are going to teach the kids what you're teaching them at home. This place where culture comes together, our culture has said, we don't want you here, God. Anyone here remember Psalm 127:1? We looked at it a few weeks back. It said, unless God builds the house, the laborers build in vain. For our school system in our society, we are trying to build this system, this house of education without God. So every day we send kids to schools, and we expect teachers to teach them and help them succeed, and it's going to fail because we are building a house without God. Teachers and students, they're working hard, many of them, but they've been left alone. Teachers have been told, hey, you can't bring your God into our classroom here. And the weenies have put in place curriculum sometimes that just doesn't even acknowledge God, sometimes outright attacks God. Our schools need help, ladies and gentlemen. This is where all our kids are going. And that's the thing. We're in churches, and we're concerned because 3/4 of our population in America has no connection to God or Jesus Christ or the church or the grace and love of our God. And we're saying, how can we reach them? Where are they? You know where they all are? They're in the schools. Schools that for many students have become somewhat dangerous places where they just try to survive. Schools that for many teachers have become a system of depressing and missed opportunities to help children become successful because they're told to be doing other things. But even at the very best of schools, and you might say our schools around here, they're the best. Even the best of schools, they need help. Because that's where all our young people are. That's where all our culture is shared and multiplied. And you know what? That's where our enemy, the devil, is working overtime to make sure his agenda gets accomplished. And we've seen that. So our schools need help. And you know who knows that our schools need help? The students know. The people in the schools know. The students know. That's why every September, there's a Wednesday set aside for kids to come to school early or stay late. And they gather around the flagpole and they pray for their schools. They pray for what's going on there. These are young people doing this. And they do it of their own free will. The Believers in Christ Club at Karn City will do that this Wednesday at 7 a.m. And if you want to encourage the young people to be close to God in our culture, I encourage you to go to that. 7 a.m. It's early this Wednesday. Don't go to stand around the flagpole. That's for the kids. That's for the young people. But go and stand outside. Let them see your presence. Let them know you support them in their efforts to pray and bring God back into the schools. Let God in their lives there. So the students are praying, but we need to pray for our schools too. And sometimes we say, well, I don't have any kids there anymore. My grandkids are through there. Or, I just don't know any kids there. Well, we need to be praying for them. I want to ask you a question. When was the last time you prayed for anybody in our school system? This was a convicting thought for me. Because, often I pray for Caleb. He's in the schools now, and I pray that God keeps him safe and helps him to be successful there. But it's never occurred to me to pray for his teacher, his bus driver, Sue, who gets him there safely every day. And all those people that are there to make our school system work. You see, I believe God, he's waiting to do great things, life-transforming things through our schools, because it's part of our society, ladies and gentlemen. He's waiting to do it, but he doesn't. Why doesn't he get done? Because we're not asking. We see in James chapter 4, verse 2, James says, you don't have because you don't ask. Do we want our kids to be safe at school? We want our teachers to be successful at teaching these kids how to be successful in their life before God. Do we want God to do miraculous, life-changing things through our schools? Sometimes are places where God's not even welcome. Well, we need to pray and ask God to do it. As James assures us in chapter 5, verse 16 of his letter, the prayer of a righteous man is powerful and effective. See, if we're out there asking God to be in our schools and to do transforming things in our schools, God will be there doing that. He will be protecting our young people. He will be there working through the young people who already follow Him to help those who don't get the support they need at home. He will be there working through godly teachers to reveal the truth and grace of Jesus Christ to these students in the ways that they can in this system. See, we have two choices. We can leave the schools to the weenies, the secularists, which is often what we do. We just let them go. Our kids are on it. Or God's people can get together to intervene. And we can start praying for our schools. And that's why we gather today for Praying for Schools Sunday. Even as students pray on campuses across the country this week, we are here today to back them up through prayer, to support them. We're going ahead of them with prayer. You know, I received recently a letter from Matt Bates. Matt Bates is the faculty advisor of the Believers in Christ Club at Karnes City High School, which we support here at this church. But in this letter, he stated that our schools, even Karnes City High School, are, quote, an environment that is increasingly hostile to Christians. Our schools need help. And that can change. But the first part of that changing needs to be us, believers, followers of Jesus Christ, praying, asking God to change things. We must pray.